Rising Productions, and this is Diva Talk. I'm Mia.
I'm Karen.
And I'm Reverie.
Where does love begin for you? Is that something that starts in your heart or in your head? And what is the distinction?
Well, to me, when you first, initiated doing these questions and I read that, I thought, love actually, because our body is all interconnected, I think it has to do with both the head and the heart, but also the loins. And they're kind of, in a way, they're three different types of love.
We love through the soul. And it's kind of what you were just touching on, Reverie. It's like, it's neither the heart or the head, or to me, maybe the soul is the heart, but it is kind of a soulful experience. Like it's kind of this unknowing feeling. You're not entirely sure where it comes from, but you know that there's a feeling there and it's strong, that the language that goes with it is love.
I have all kinds of feelings on this subject. Does it start in the heart or in the head? Which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Exactly.
It's a tough question to answer. I think love is a choice for the most part.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Happy February. We are talking about love, and this is episode 2. And I'd like to segue into our next question. Segue! So first off, I'd like to just say my question was inspired by 2 friends of mine. One friend of mine is Russian. And when he came to America, he was saying, I just don't understand all these Americans, they always say, oh, I love you. You go to work and your boss hugs you and says, oh, I love you. And, your friends say, I love you. And they want to kiss you on the cheek. Goodbye. And, everyone just loves everyone. And, that's just bullshit. I don't believe in that. And then I have a friend of mine who's been married to her husband for about 15 years. And she says that she only says, I love you to her husband. She doesn't say it to any of her friends. She doesn't say it to anyone else. She reserves I love you for her husband. So my question is, who do you say I love you to? And what is the significance? And do you say it to your friends? Do you say it to your family? And what does I love you mean to you?
Want to start, Mia?
I'm going to start.
Well, I'm an I love you whore. I fully 100% believe in saying I love you. I say it accidentally to coworkers. Have a good weekend. Love you. Don't do it on purpose, but I do.
Yeah.
It just comes out. But I think if you feel it, you should say it. When you, as far as my coworkers go, not all of them. There's some I want to stab in the eye with the rusty fork. But when you spend 8 hours a day with somebody, you should at some point feel a love for them, at least on a basic human to human level. I say spread the love. Say it. Don't spray it. But it's a cultural difference, because one of my closest friends, Melinda, she's German, part German. She was raised, her mother was like really German. And I don't even know if that's the right term, but it was that culture. She was raised in a German culture. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I will say every time I have coffee with her every Sunday, or I have a phone call with her every Sunday, I connect with her every Sunday. It's our scheduled day. And at the end of that, I say, okay, I love you. And most of the time she's just like, okay, have a good day. She doesn't say it back. It's very rare. Every once in a while she does say it, but it's very rare that she does. And at first I was like, why doesn't she love me back? Why can't you, when somebody says I love you, say I love you back? Like, what is that? And then I had to just realize that's just part of her culture. It's how she was raised. It's just not something that she does on a regular basis. But I'm and I love you, whore. I just am. I'll throw it out there at anybody. But I will say I'm very hesitant when I'm in a beginning of a relationship with somebody. I won't just throw it out there in the beginning because I'm in that. I want to make sure. Do I really want to love you? I don't know yet, and I'm not going to say it until I'm 100% sure.
Well, you say it because you actually mean it, and it's not just for friends and family. You say it and you actually mean it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't say I love you. Well, let me think about that now. It could be, I could say it in a spiteful way. You know, somebody's really ticking me off and be like, love you. I love you too.
Ripping with subtext.
So who knows? I'm just an I love you whore. I might hate you and say I love you. You never know.
So that's mixed signals. If you're saying I love you, Karen, I'm like, does she really hate me?
No, I'll say it in a way that you'll know, oh, Mia's being shady. I'm going to have tone behind it. Love you.
Don't worry, Karen. I've never heard her say it that way, so I think you're off the hook. I don't think she'll say it to you.
It's
No
rare.
way.
It's really rare.
Yeah.
As rare as a rusty fork.
Well, what about you, Karen? How do you feel about that? Who do you say I love you to?
My cats. Oh my God, I love my cats so much. I tell them so many times a day that I love them. And that's, I feel like, a very different kind of love, you know, for a pet, for an animal. Like there's that unconditional love. Like they can't do anything. I mean, they might poop outside of the box and you might be a little pissed off about that. But, you know, like just this unconditional love, you know, and it's for any like dog, cat, you know, maybe a reptile, I don't know, you know, whatever your thing is. But I definitely feel like there's that love and that connection that I have, that I say it all the time to them. Now, they don't have to say it back to me because, you know, I know they do. You know, I feed them. So you want to feel the love, feed your cats.
If only men could be as easy as cats.
Right? Exactly. But yeah, no, I definitely grew up, I think, you know, with those 3 words not being kind of like tossed around very easily. It's not that, you know, anybody was stingy about it. There was definitely love in my family, but you know, definitely wasn't like a language that I learned until later in my life that I started to say it and use it freely. I say it to my family members now all the time when we sign off for family Zoom and phone calls and things like that, or if I see them. But you know, I think I was a little stubborn when I was in my teenager years, and you know, probably through my 20s. I was like, I'm not gonna say it because, you know, it's stupid.
It's embarrassing.
It's embarrassing, or it's stupid. And don't say it to me because it's stupid, you know?
Yeah.
I think there was like definitely a conversation in my head that, you know, what it meant, and, you know, what it felt vulnerable, maybe too vulnerable to say it. And that, you know, vulnerability was not like a space that I was comfortable in that period of my life. But I think as I got older, I definitely grew more comfortable with it. And obviously I say it to my husband, even when we sign off on phone calls, you know, and we'll say it very freely. You know, it's not like, I love you. Like you have to sing a Whitney Houston song with it, you know?
Yeah, please don't. Please don't. No.
You could
yeah, I don't have to do that. You know, it's just like, love you, babe. Hang up. Heart emoji. But yeah, I think that, you know, and when it comes to my friends, you know, there's definitely a conversation that I had about that too. Like, wait, you know, you feel like there's like this kind of fragmented, like I'm only supposed to say love to these people and these people. But then, you know, like when I started to change that whole conversation about love, I became very more comfortable. I became much more free with saying I love you to my
Absolutely.
friends. And it's funny that you say that, Mia, like that you say it to people at work. Cause I had this job. I was the head of a master's program, or where they had a master's program that was head of the admissions. And there's sometimes some of the international students, learning English would say, dear Karen Tucker, and they would write, and then they'd say at the end, I love you, which I always thought was so cute. And I'm sure it was just one of those kind of like language kind of interpretation things that just, didn't like translate.
Oh, I think it's quite sweet.
Oh, it was very sweet.
Yeah.
And I always loved that. I always loved that, like I always got like, I love you at the end. And I'm like, oh, well, they love me. I mean, that's not going to get you into the program, but thanks a lot.
It doesn't hurt.
Let's see your resume and your portfolio too. And then we'll talk about the love. No, I just thought that was a cute little thing that you brought up about like how it just kind of like slips out sometimes, or it's interpreted, through language in from one language to another. And I just thought that was a funny little anecdote to put in there about saying the words. But yeah, I think I'm much more free with saying I love you now. I love you, ladies. I love you. I love you.
Yeah.
You.
I think it's beautiful that we say that we love each other. I mean, every meeting we have, one of us always ends up saying, I love you. I'm always like, good night, ladies. Yes, I did it. Good night, ladies. Love you. I always say that. I think it's so important too, especially right now with the state of the world. I think it's so important to tell people you love them, because you never know. We don't know what's going to happen at any time. And I always tell my friends that. And what I mean by that is I love you as a person. I respect you. I care about you. I want you to, especially now, I want you to be safe. I want you to feel protected. That's why I'm saying I love you. And I tell everyone that. I think what's been hard for me with COVID is not being able to be tactile again. I'm such a huggy person. I see people and I just hug them. I genuinely just want to squeeze people and hug them. And we can't do that now. So I just think it's so important to tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, your cats, your animals, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband.
Tell the person
them
who
you
made
love
your
them.
coffee at Starbucks. I mean, you don't know that you could be the only person in their life that says I love you to them. Say it like a thank you. I love you.
Yeah.
Just from one human to another.
It is so important to say I love you. And it doesn't even matter who it is, but definitely to your cats.
Definitely.
Well, if I worked at Starbucks and Mia said I love you to me, I'd be like, forget my tips. That hot chick loves me.
You want some extra sugar in your coffee?
I don't tip. I just throw my love around.
You're a shitty tipper, but you're a great lover.
Do you leave those little conversation hearts everywhere you go? Starbucks are like, oh, the conversation heart.
Sweetheart. I love those. I love
she was here.
Sweethearts with the little writing on it. Yeah, they tasted terrible, but I always like dig through them to be like, oh, what does this one say?
Well, I think we've answered this question, have we?
I think so. I mean, I don't know if there's anything more to say about who we say it to and why we say it.
Yeah,
But,
what it means to you. Well, then I'd like to end this.
Cue it with Rumi.
Yes, exactly. So this is a poem by Rumi. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it.
So we'll see you guys next week for our next conversation about love.
Love.
Is this what we're doing?
I don't know. I was trying to make, lobster claws and love.
Or lobster claws. Oh God, not this again.
Love.
No. I say no.
With your rusted fork.
That expression of you have to love yourself before somebody else can love you. Is that true? And what is self-love? What does that mean to love yourself? What does that look like?
I feel like that's a hard thing for me sometimes. My self-love is, it's easier for me to give it to someone else than it is to give to Karen.
Why is that?
I don't know.
I think that's for everybody. I don't think that's just Karen. I don't think that's just you. I think everybody has that same struggle. You have and I was just discussing this with Miguel earlier today and last night, as a matter of fact. Like, you're treating yourself in a way that you would not let somebody else treat you. And you're treating yourself in a way that you would not treat somebody else. Why? Why do we do that? And I'm guilty of it too. I do the same thing. I will beat myself up and torture myself and give myself a hard time and say negative things about myself. I wouldn't treat somebody else that way. Why do I treat myself that way? It's
I've got it. I think we can all relate that we're our own worst enemies and very self-critical, but yet we're very loving.
Or
That's where I'm coming from.
Is it a woman thing? Is it like, do women have a harder time with it? Because by nature, we're, nurturers, so we're kind of more of like maybe not more of, but we're givers, we give breast milk, we give our bodies to push a baby through. So is that something that, just kind of comes more naturally, is to love others than to think about loving on ourselves?
Go.